For over 50 years, the identity of the Zodiac Killer has remained one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in American criminal history. Between 1968 and 1969, a ruthless serial killer terrorized Northern California, taunting police and the media with cryptic letters, ciphers, and phone calls. The Zodiac claimed to have killed 37 people, but officially, only 5 murders have been confirmed. Despite countless investigations, books, movies, and even modern-day forensic advancements, no one has ever been definitively identified as the Zodiac. Was the killer a genius who outsmarted law enforcement? Did he vanish, die, or was he hiding in plain sight all along? And could modern technology finally unmask him? Today, we break down the chilling crimes, cryptic clues, and shocking new discoveries that could change everything we thought we knew about the Zodiac Killer. The start of a nightmare. The first confirmed Zodiac murders. The Zodiac's reign of terror officially began on December 20, 1968, when high school sweethearts Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were shot and killed on a secluded lover's lane in Benicia, California. Police had no suspects, no motive, and no idea this was only the beginning of something much worse. Then, on July 4, 1969, another couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, was ambushed in Vallejo. The killer approached their car, shining a flashlight in their eyes before opening fire. Mageau miraculously survived, but Darlene was pronounced dead. This time, however, the killer made his first move to taunt authorities. Just hours after the attack, an anonymous man called the Vallejo Police Department, confessing to both murders and providing chilling details only the killer would know. He ended the call with the eerie words, "I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." This marked the beginning of a terrifying game of cat and mouse that would grip California and the world for decades. The Zodiac's terrifying letters and ciphers. In August 1969, the killer made his boldest move yet. 3 nearly identical letters were sent to the San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco Examiner, and Vallejo Times-Herald. Each letter contained bizarre ramblings, a demand that they be published on the front page, and a complicated cipher that he claimed would reveal his identity. This is the Zodiac speaking. This was the first time the killer called himself Zodiac, a name that would soon become infamous. The ciphers, known as the Z340 and Z408 ciphers, were a mix of symbols, letters, and numbers. The Zodiac taunted that if police could solve them, they would uncover his name. Incredibly, within a week, a school teacher and his wife cracked the first cipher, Z408. But instead of revealing his identity, it contained a disturbing manifesto. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." It was clear that the Zodiac was not just a killer. He was playing a game, and he was enjoying every second of it. The infamous Lake Berryessa attack. By the fall of 1969, the Zodiac was becoming bolder and more sadistic. On September 27, 1969, college students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying an afternoon by Lake Berryessa when a man approached wearing an executioner-style hood and a symbol resembling a crosshair on his chest, holding them at gunpoint. He claimed he was an escaped convict who needed their car and money. But instead of robbing them, he tied them up and stabbed them repeatedly with a knife. Before leaving, he used a black marker to write his signature symbol on Brian's car door, along with the dates of his previous murders. Miraculously, Brian survived the attack, but Cecilia succumbed to her injuries. This time, the Zodiac didn't call the police. Instead, he left a calling card at the crime scene, his signature crosshair symbol, and a cryptic message. The chilling killing of Paul Stine. Just 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, the Zodiac struck again, this time breaking his own pattern. Instead of targeting a young couple, he shot taxi driver Paul Stine in the head in San Francisco's upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood. What made this case even more terrifying? 3 witnesses saw the killer. They described him as a stocky white male with glasses, around 35 to 45 years old. Police even narrowly missed catching him that night, but due to a miscommunication, officers believed they were looking for a black suspect and let the real killer walk away. Days later, the Zodiac sent another taunting letter. This time, it included a piece of Paul Stine's bloody shirt. He mocked the police for almost catching him and promised more killings. But then, he seemed to vanish. Was the Zodiac ever caught? The prime suspects. Over the years, dozens of suspects have been considered, but no one has ever been definitively identified as the Zodiac. Here are the most famous ones. Arthur Leigh Allen, the leading suspect. Arthur Leigh Allen has long been the prime suspect. He was a convicted child molester who allegedly told a friend about his plan to become a serial killer named Zodiac before the first murders even happened. Police found suspicious items at his home, including bloody knives, cryptic writings, and a Zodiac-style watch with the killer's symbol. However, his DNA didn't match samples from the Zodiac letters, and he died in 1992 before he could ever be charged. Gary Francis Post, a recent theory. In 2021, a group of investigators called the Case Breakers claimed that the Zodiac was actually Gary Francis Post, a former Air Force veteran who had a criminal history. They pointed to hidden clues in the Zodiac's letters and photographic evidence linking Post to a composite sketch. However, law enforcement agencies have not confirmed this theory, and many experts remain skeptical. Could DNA technology finally solve the case? In recent years, advanced DNA analysis has solved cold cases that were once thought to be impossible to crack. In 2018, the infamous Golden State Killer was caught using genetic genealogy, a technique that compares DNA to online ancestry databases. Could the same method finally unmask the Zodiac Killer? Police have partial DNA profiles from the Zodiac's letters, but they've never been able to make a definitive match. However, some experts believe that it's only a matter of time before technology provides an answer. Did the Zodiac Killer stop, or did he keep killing? One of the biggest questions surrounding the Zodiac case is whether he truly stopped killing, or if he simply changed his methods and continued under a different name. While confirmed Zodiac attacks ceased after 1969, the killer continued to send letters until at least 1974. Some of these later letters referenced pop culture, including a bizarre note praising the movie The Exorcist. However, investigators have long speculated that the Zodiac might have been responsible for other unsolved murders. One theory suggests that he moved to a different area or changed his MO to avoid capture. There have been suspected connections between the Zodiac and murders as far away as New York, Texas, and even Canada. Another disturbing theory: the Zodiac may have been a police officer, military member, or someone with inside knowledge of law enforcement tactics. His ability to evade capture, manipulate the media, and mislead investigators suggests he was more than just a random serial killer. Could he have been hiding in plain sight the entire time? If this theory is true, then the Zodiac story isn't just a cold case. It's an active nightmare that could still be unfolding. The real question is, did the Zodiac retire, or did he simply become someone else? The Zodiac's legacy: a monster who never paid for his crimes. More than 50 years later, the Zodiac Killer remains one of the most terrifying unsolved cases in history. His taunting letters, cryptic ciphers, and brutal killings created a real-life horror story that continues to captivate investigators and amateur sleuths alike. If he's still alive, he would be in his 80s or 90s today. If he's dead, he took his secrets with him. Either way, the Zodiac never faced justice, and his crimes remain an open wound in American history. But what do you think? Was the Zodiac an evil genius who covered his tracks perfectly, or was he just lucky? Could modern DNA finally expose him, or will this remain one of history's greatest mysteries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love exploring unsolved crimes, mysteries, and conspiracies, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the world's most chilling cases. Thanks for watching, and remember, the Zodiac story isn't just about the past. Until we find the truth, he's still out there.